shadow figure steps into the spotlight. Mojtaba Khamenei is Iran's new supreme leader. Dynastic shift in an anti-monarchy revolution. Crown of thorns, widening war to domestic dissent. What will Mojtaba rise mean for Iran's future? What is next in the West Asia war? Khamenei's son, now supreme leader. That is our top focus on News Track.
Good evening, you're watching News Track with me, Maria Shakil. Iran has a new supreme leader, and for the first time since the 1979 Islamic Revolution, power has effectively passed from father to son. Mojtaba Khamenei, the son of Ali Khamenei, has now stepped into one of the most powerful roles in West Asia. For decades, Mojtaba remained largely behind the scenes, building influence within Iran's clerical and security establishment while his father ruled the country for nearly 4 decades. His rise now comes at a moment of deep uncertainty for Iran. With the widening war in West Asia and growing dissent at home, he is taking over a crown of thorns in many ways. So who is Mojtaba Khamenei, the man now leading the Islamic Republic, and what are the challenges lying ahead for him? Today we look at the system he inherits from the Khamenei era and how he might shape Iran's future. Take a look at this report.
A low-profile cleric who has long stayed in the shadows has now stepped into the spotlight. As Iran's new supreme leader, Mojtaba Khamenei stands at the center of power in the Islamic Republic, taking over the position held for decades by his father, Ali Khamenei. A cleric from Qom, he built his influence quietly within the office of the supreme leader, cultivating ties with powerful political and military figures. Those connections included close relationships with Iran's elite security establishment, particularly the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, widely seen as one of the pillars of the Islamic Republic's power structure. His lineage traces back to a clerical household. Mojtaba's grandfather, Sayyid Jawad Khamenei, was a respected Shia cleric. Mojtaba's father, Ali Khamenei, went on to become Iran's second supreme leader. Analysts say Mojtaba played an important role behind the scenes during key moments of unrest and political tension during Khamenei's tenure. His influence grew steadily as his father aged, with many insiders long viewing him as a potential successor. But Mojtaba's rise is rooted in the history of the revolutionary system that governs Iran. The Islamic Republic was born from the Iranian Revolution of 1979, when mass protests toppled the monarchy of Mohammad Reza Pahlavi and brought a government of Ayatollahs to power under Ruhollah Khomeini. Khamenei became the country's first supreme leader, shaping a system where ultimate authority rests with a senior cleric who oversees the state, the military, and the judiciary. When Khamenei died in 1989, power passed to Ali Khamenei, a former president who would go on to rule Iran for nearly 4 decades. Now, with Mojtaba Khamenei assuming the role, the leadership of the Islamic Republic passes from father to son, and this echoes the very dynasty politics of the monarchy that the revolution once overthrew. The era of Ali Khamenei reshaped Iran's politics and its place in the world. Under his leadership, Iran expanded its regional influence through alliances and proxy forces across West Asia, while relations with the United States and much of the West remained deeply strained. Ali Khamenei argued that it is necessary to reject Western ideas on women's employment and gender equality, and often responded to dissent with force. That led to the flashpoint of the 2022 protests that followed the death of Mahsa Amini, a woman detained by Iran's morality police for not wearing a hijab. Her death in custody sparked nationwide demonstrations that evolved into one of the most significant challenges to the Islamic Republic in decades. Women across Iran became the face of that movement, removing headscarves, cutting their hair, and demanding freedom and equality. For many, the Khamenei era symbolized decades of repression, and residents worry that's going to continue under Mojtaba. Mojtaba Khamenei steps into power at a moment of extraordinary pressure. Iran faces economic strain from years of sanctions, a volatile security environment in the region, and a young population that is increasingly vocal about demands for social and political change. He also inherits a system where legitimacy is closely tied to religious authority, something analysts say he is yet to prove. Within the ruling establishment, he will need to balance powerful factions that include clerical leaders, political elite, and the IRGC. And most importantly, regional tensions, the war that has escalated across West Asia, and deeply strained ties with the US and Israel, will be the biggest hurdle for Mojtaba as he takes over the crown. Whether Mojtaba can consolidate power, maintain stability, and respond to those demands will not only determine the future of his rule, but also the future direction of the Islamic Republic itself. Preksha Jain for India Today.
Dr. Vail Awad is senior journalist and long-time West Asia observer. He joins me now. Dr. Awad, he steps into power at a moment of open confrontation with Israel and the United States. Does a new and relatively untested supreme leader in Mojtaba make Iran more aggressive or more cautious?
Thank you for having me. I think it will be more aggressive saying that. Having said that, I would say because he was working for the last 10 years under his father's shoulders and he understands the system. He has been active among the Shia community in different posts he has taken. So he is a well-known figure, but he kept a low profile because even his father, before his assassination, actually what happened was he named 3 successors. His son's name was not there. But you all understand the sentiment in the street of the Iran and the Shia community when they wanted to have a father. It's not a dynasty like, appointment, because usually nobody in the religious body, the father or the son, takes over. So therefore, there was a sort of, sympathy wave toward him, and the Republican Guard, the clergy of the 88, the government itself, the defense ministry, all the officials have voted unanimously for him. Now, his father died, his wife died, his daughter died, and his mother died, along with other officials. Definitely this man will be more than a hook, than a normal or a soften to come with the American term. Because what President Trump is saying, he's been saying, I wanted to have a complete surrender by the Iranian, and he will not have it from Supreme Leader Mojtaba Khamenei on power, neither him nor the Israelis. And I think the amount of retaliatory attacks on Israel taking place right now, since the morning, it's clear indication that he is more adamant than anybody. And I think the Republican Guard are happy because they were pushing for a hard stand on Iran, and I think he chose the right leader.
Okay, so Dr. Awad, you have made an interesting point that his father had picked up 3 leaders as his successor during his lifetime, and Mojtaba was not one of them. So certainly, Ayatollah Khamenei did not want a successor from within the family.
Absolutely.
And now, with this kind of change which has happened, is this continuity of the Islamic Republic, or do you see this as beginning of something very different?
No, absolutely. It is continuation, and that's give a clear message to the rest of the world that the government is intact, the supreme leadership are intact. Now they decentralize their ruling system and attacking or the militaries from different parts of Iran, where even if you kill the first, second, third, leaders of the revolution. They still have somebody who can run the show for them. So I think he is the right person, as I said, and I'm sure. Look, we are Asian. We understand these sympathy waves that comes, and he has to deliver for the people. He definitely will deliver militarily. He will deliver for the public to ease the tension. And we have seen the rallying behind him by the Iranian, despite the Western narrative that there are demonstrations against him. By the way, the demonstration in the West is turning against those governments, because now they're saying, look, what are you exactly doing? Are you really changing a regime, or are you killing our people? I mean, how many civilians they died? More than 2,000 civilians, including children. You know, the school 10 to 12 years old, including the stadium, 200 people, 168 children. What's going on? So therefore, this man have the mandate to carry on with the revolution in Iran. And that's why Americans now are in a dire consequences. The president of the United States is unable to understand what is his objective. First, he said it is the nuclear, though he said I obliterated the nuclear in the last year attack. Then he said the regime is changed. Then he said I cannot do regime change.
Okay.
Then his people say
I agree. I mean, you're saying, Dr. Awad, that he's constantly changing his goalposts, so the end game is not clear. So that brings me to my another question on Mojtaba's new leadership that he has taken charge. You know, from Hezbollah to militias which are across Iraq and Syria, does Mojtaba inherit the regional network intact, or will factions now compete to prove loyalty?
I think most of the Iranian, at the moment, everybody talk of the proxies of the Iranian, that they have give access of the evil or access of resistance from Iran, Iraq, Syria, into Lebanon, into Palestine, into the Houthis in the Yemen. The fact of the matter remains that these forces, to be honest, I mean, I'm following them daily, and you know, they have never done any attack till the killing of Khamenei against Israel or against any country in support of the Iranian. So what they were doing, they were defending their own territories because they're under occupation. So this is the message, which is the crux of the problem lies here. Now we can see the Hezbollah is fighting a war against maybe the will of all the Lebanese country, but he is definitely in support of Iran. Similarly, the Popular Front in Iraq is already taking the guns against the American interest in the region. Similarly, the Houthis are watching, and they will be doing this. So there is no loss of control on those regions. When you kill a supreme leader, a religious leader, respected by people, you can anticipate revenge from anywhere in the world. Why you're subjecting people and doing this cold blood assassination, which is revoked, illegal, illegitimate, and a violation of all the international norms.
All right, Dr. Awad, thank you for speaking to India today, and thank you for joining us. Joining us now from Tehran is Dr. Fouad Ezzadi. He's the Associate Professor of University of Tehran. Dr. Ezzadi, Mojtaba Khamenei has largely operated behind the scenes, never holding a major elected office. In a system built on clerical legitimacy, does he have the religious and political weight to command Iran's establishment?
You know, I think he was elected for three reasons. The first reason was his Islamic scholarship. You know, in Iran, the country's leader is not running the affairs of the executive branch. That is the president's job. His job is to be the spiritual leader of the country. It's an Islamic republic. And also he would influence policy in sort of major ways, in more important policy issues. He doesn't go into details. Mojtaba Khamenei, his religious credentials are quite extensive. He has been teaching at Islamic seminaries at the highest level for the last 18 years. So he's a professor of Islamic theology. That's number one. If he was not a serious scholar, high-ranking scholar, he would not be able to be in this position. The second criteria is the ability of the person to do the job. The people in the Assembly of Experts had this assessment that he can do the job. He has been involved with different issues of the country for many years. He has been an aide to the country's leader. So the assessment was that he's able to perform the duties that he's expected to perform. And I think the third issue, because for the first two, you had other candidates, other people could fulfill the first two criteria. We had a short list of 5-6 people. All of them could do the first two. But I think the reason he was chosen was because of the third issue, and that was the ability to create consensus among different stakeholders, political stakeholders in the country. Iran, like other countries, has different stakeholders. And it was the third issue, his ability to create consensus, that resulted in him getting elected. I think the war had a lot to do with it. Trump, a few days ago, mentioned his name and said that he doesn't want to see him as the leader. So I think that helped the doubtful members of Assembly of Experts to actually do something that Trump didn't want to see happen. He's as anti-American hegemony as the previous leader. So that line of making sure that the US and Israel cannot create a hegemony in this part of the world, that is going to be one of his priorities.
Okay,
so
you have given me reasons why he was elected. But Dr. Ezzadi, the Islamic Republic was born out of a revolution against monarchy. You are saying he emerged as a consensus candidate. If Mojtaba Khamenei becomes supreme leader, he's now already a supreme leader, doesn't that risk making the system look less like a republic and more like a dynasty?
Yes, it does. And I think that is why he was reluctant. We have rumors that his father was reluctant. But remember, we don't have a monarchy. This Assembly of Experts, their job is not only to elect the leader, they supervise what he's doing. So they gather 2 times a year. They have a meeting 2 times a year. They review the performance of the leader, and they can dismiss that leader the same way they elected that leader. You don't do that in monarchies. In monarchies, you are a monarch because you're of your family. In Iran, the body that's actually ruling is an assembly of 88 people, and they choose one person as sort of the leader to fill that position. Who knows? Maybe after we go through the difficult times that the country is going through, they would want to, or Mojtaba Khamenei would volunteer to step aside, and they can choose another leader. And under Iran's constitution, there is no fixed term. If the person is elected today, he can be dismissed next week.
Okay. Some supporters, Dr. Ezzadi, are invoking the legacy of Ali ibn Abi Talib to frame Mojtaba's rise as a form of rightful succession. Is that a genuine theological argument, or simply, one would say, political messaging to legitimize a transfer of power?
I don't think that's legitimate. The issue of in Shia theology, Shia Islam theology, that's imamate, the leadership, and that is different with what we have in Iran's constitution, because these people are not imams. In Shia theology, there were 12 imams, and that was it. So the leader of Iran is not an imam in that sense, and
that's right.
Those theological issues do not apply to that person.
Okay, Mojtaba Khamenei is believed to have deep links with the IRGC, which is the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps. I've been reading a lot of articles which actually suggest so. Does his rise signal a more securitized IRGC dominated Iran or continuity with the current system?
Like India, the military leadership in Iran is under civilian supervision and direction. And under Iran's constitution, the leader is commander-in-chief. So the influence of leader on military is much greater than vice versa. And this is what we have had in the last 47 years. This is what we will have in many decades to come.
All right, Dr. Fouad Ezzadi, thank you for joining us and explaining to us the significance of the new supreme leader that Iran has, Mojtaba Khamenei. What does it actually mean for Iran? And also, what does it mean for this ongoing war? Thanks so much for watching.